Royce awakens from unconsciousness to find himself falling from the sky. He panics on seeing this and tries to open his parachute, which won't open, but as he approaches the ground, his parachute opens and lands badly in the forest. He looks up and finds himself alone, but then another man falls there, a Mexican drug cartel enforcer, Cuchillo. He aims a gun at him and Royce asks him to calm down, but then another man lands who is dead, and suddenly someone starts shooting at them. Cuchillo distracts him and Royce approaches him and stops him from firing, saying, "We are not enemies." Spetsnaz soldier Nikolai tells them, "I was in the war and then a white light approaches and I woke up here." A girl named Isabella, a former Israel Defense Forces sniper, appears and tells them that the forest is bizarre and that she has seen other people falling from the sky. As they move to find other people, a man named Hanzo starts following them quietly. Further, they see two men fighting. Revolutionary United Front officer Mombasa and death row inmate Stans tell them another man is hanging on the tree. They find him and Royce fires to free him, and the man introduces himself as Dr. Edwin. After seeing the skulls and the large ship's paddle, Isabella asks who could have done this, to which Mombasa says that only a dangerous soldier could do this, and Nikolai says that it might be an army test. Isabella tells them that if we were all military people, we would all have the same weapons, none of them know where they are or why. Royce tells them it doesn't matter how they came here and why, but the main thing is how can we get out from here. Royce takes charge and asks them to follow him toward the high ground, and the others start following him. Nikolai and Edwin discover plants with a neurotoxin poison that Edwin collects on a small scalpel. After walking too much, Isabella asks Royce to rest, but he tells her have to get out of here soon, and if you guys can't come, I'm fine on my own. Isabella puts a leaf in water which starts spinning, and Royce tells her that the sun has stayed at the same time since we arrived, which means we're in trouble. He speculates that they have been brought to the jungle for a reason, except for Edwin. They're all armed and lethal killers, though Isabella suspects that Royce is a mercenary or former Black Ops soldier. As they head, they see a cage, and when Hanzo opens it there is nothing but more cages hanging in the trees. They continue walking and suddenly Mombasa's foot gets stuck and they are attacked and they all run for their lives. Isabella falls into the nails pit, but Royce runs and saves her, and after the attack stops they see a dead man. Royce tells them it wasn't the attack, it was a trap for something a lot bigger, but it got tripped through the wires and killed the man. An invisible creature is watching them. Mombasa notices it, but when Isabella asks what is it, he tells her nothing and leaves. Arriving at higher ground, they find themselves staring at the sky filled with other planets. They conclude that they are not on Earth, which Royce says they'll need a different plan. Back in the forest, when Royce is telling them that we were brought here for a purpose, something passes over them. They all get alerted and Stans puts a chokehold on Mombasa's neck and says, "I want a gun too," but they are attacked by alien dogs. They start firing at them. One dog attacks Stans and he stabs it with a little, but the beast doesn't care and Mombasa shoots the beast, saving Stans. One of the dogs attacks Edwin. Isabella saves him. As the dog moves towards her, she points the gun at herself and suddenly someone whistles and calls it back. Royce asks them to reload their guns and tells them that the planet is some type of game preserve and that the humans are being hunted as a game. They hear Cuchillo calling for help, and when they see him Royce tells them it's a trap and throws a clay boulder to check, which is destroyed by the laser. They all leave except Isabella, who watches him for a while and then shoots him, but his body's still being used and his voice is being mimicked, and she runs and joins the others. Royce smells the aliens and tells them that they want us to run and split up so they can hunt us down like they did the people before us. Isabella asks what's alternative and Royce tells them to find the predator we need to follow the dog's track. After reaching the place, they see many skulls and an alien predator chained up. As Nikolai touches it, the alien growls. Royce hides without telling the others, and when the predator kills Mombasa, Royce starts firing on it and asks others to run. The group manages to escape and fall into the lake, and then the predators become visible. After getting out of the lake, Isabella punches Royce and says, "You made us bait on purpose so you could see those predators." Royce tells them, "I did this to find out about our enemy, and now we know about them that they use projectile and energy-based weapons." Stan gets angry at him for using them as bait, and Isabella asks him to go on his own. Royce tells her, "You know about them, but you didn't tell us about it." Isabel reveals that she has heard of these creatures before, from a report by the only survivor of a special forces team who encountered one in Valverde, Guatemala in 1987. Royce tells them that we will kill them all and bring them to a place where we can attack them, for which I need all of your help. The group waits for them in the forest. Stan tells Edwin that he will deal cocaine after he gets out. Isabella asks Royce why he is so emotionless, and he tells her, "I spent a lot in war and lost his family." They hear the predators whisper and use Edwin as bait. Edwin runs to distract the predator and Isabella shoots it down. They all come to see the dead predator, and Isabella notices her aim was missed. They hear the man's whispering. The man makes visible himself, and the group meets Noland, an air assault soldier who has survived on the planet for years by scavenging and hiding in an abandoned structure. He takes them to the abandoned ship, where he explains that the predators sharpen their killing skills by collecting warriors and dangerous beasts from other worlds and bringing them to the planet to hunt. Noland also reveals that there is even a blood feud between the larger predators and the smaller ones. Then he goes to sleep, and Royce hopes that if they free the smaller predator being held prisoner in the encampment, it might be able to take them home using the other predator's spaceship. Suddenly, the smoke starts coming into the ship, and they see Noland disappear, revealing himself as a scavenger. Seeing Noland outside, Royce attempts to shoot him, but he runs out. Royce creates noise to attract the predators, who kill Noland. In the ensuing escape, Edwin is left behind and calls them for help, but no one listens to him. He uses flares to find the way while the group escapes through the cave, but as the predators arrive, Nikolai appears and saves him. While Edwin and Nikolai are escaping, the predator attacks them, and Nikolai sacrifices himself to kill one of the predators, using an explosive. The second predator appears and attacks Stans, and as the predator is just about to kill Royce, Stans jumps on it and tells them to run. Stans sacrifices his life while the group runs to save themselves. Hanzo sees it coming and decides to fight the predator. When the others escape, he fights the predator with the sword and kills it, sacrificing his own life. Edwin is injured by a ring trap as he, Royce, and Isabel head for the encampment. When Isabel refuses to abandon him, Royce leaves them both behind, and the third and alpha large predator catches them. Royce goes to the smaller predator who is hanging and asks him, "I will free you, and then you have to help me." He frees the smaller predator, and as the alpha predator arrives, the smaller activates the ship and Royce heads for the ship. Meanwhile, Edwin and Isabella are trapped in a pit. Both predators fight, and the alpha predator kills its foe. When he notices that the ship is taking off, the alpha quickly destroys the ship. Edwin uses his scalpel to cut Isabella to paralyze her with the neurotoxin poison, and reveals that on Earth he was a psychopathic murderer, and feels that he fits in on this planet among the monsters. Royce appears never to have boarded the ship. Seeing him, Edwin behaves normally, and Royce takes them out from the pit. As Edwin tries to attack, Royce quickly stabs him in the throat and saves Isabel, and then takes him for use as bait and makes a circle with explosive powder. The predator searches for them and finds Edwin, and when it goes near Edwin's body, it sees grenades that blast. Royce covers himself with mud and uses the fire to hide his heat signature, and a violent fight ensues. Royce hits it, but the predator can't see him properly due to the heat, and Royce hides behind a tree to figure out a new strategy. The predator changes his point of view from heat signal to tracking Royce's heartbeat and finds Royce behind a tree and attacks him. Royce fights, but the predator is more stronger, and just when Royce is about to be given a death blow from the predator, Isabel drags her body towards her sniper's rifle and shoots the predator. Royce can regain his feet and successfully decapitate the predator with a crude axe. Royce goes to Isabella and pulls out a knife from her shoulder, and after they recover from their ordeal, they observe more prey being dropped into the jungle. Royce declares that they must find another way off of the planet. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this.